हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, धन्यवाद प्रणाम्स।
हरे कृष्ण प्रकाश राव प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम प्रभु जी।
हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
हरे कृष्ण सुरेखा माता जी, दंडवत प्रणाम माता जी।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, प्रणाम प्रभु जी।
हरे कृष्ण रेवती रत्नांगी माता जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, प्रणाम प्रभु जी।
हरे कृष्ण उषा माता जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
दंड प्रणाम। हरे कृष्णा।
हरे हरे कृष्ण माता जी, दंडवत प्रणाम माता जी। प्लीज टेक ओवर, यू आर ऑलरेडी लाइव।
हरे कृष्ण जी,
हरे
प्रणाम।
कृष्ण माता जी,
दंडवत प्रणाम।
हरे
प्रणाम
कृष्ण माता
सर।
जी, प्रणाम माता जी।
दंड प्रणाम। हरे कृष्णा। Can you make me co-host?
हरे कृष्णा माता जी, हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्णा।
हरे कृष्ण।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयाउदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th canto, 5th chapter, verse number 19. Venkat Narasimha Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी। कालचक्रं भ्रमितीक्ष्णं सर्वं निष्कर्षयत् जगत् स्वतन्त्रम् अभुदस्येह किमसत्कर्मभिः भवेत्। हरे कृष्ण माता जी।
Thank you. Chitra Mohini Mataji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी, प्रणाम माता जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। कालचक्रं भ्रमितीक्ष्णं सर्वं निष्कर्षय जगत् स्वतन्त्रम् अभुज्यस्येहं स्नेह किमसत्कर्मभिर्भवेत्। हरे कृष्ण माता जी, थैंक यू माता जी।
Usha Devati Mataji, thank you Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी, प्रणाम माता जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। कालचक्रं भ्रमिदीक्षणं सर्वं निष्करयत् जगत् स्वतन्त्रम् अबुदस्य इह किम सत्कर्मभिः भवेत्। थैंक यू माता जी। हरे कृष्ण।
Thank you. Madhusoni Mataji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी, दंडवत प्रणाम माता जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। कालचक्रं भ्रमितीक्ष्णं सर्वं निष्कर्षय जगत् स्वतन्त्रयं बुद्धस्येह किं सत्कर्मभिः भवेत्। थैंक यू माता जी। हरे कृष्ण।
Krishna. Suramya Madhavi Mataji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी, दंडवत प्रणाम। कालचक्रं भ्रमितीक्ष्णं सर्वनिष्कर्षयत् जगत् स्वतन्त्रम् अबुधस्येह किम असत्कर्मभिर्भवेत्। हरे कृष्ण माता जी।
Thank you. Pran Nandini Madhavi Mataji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी, प्रणाम माता जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। कालचक्रं भ्रमितीक्ष्णं सर्वं निष्कर्षय जगत् स्वतन्त्रम् अभिदस्येह किम असत्कर्मभिर्भवेत्। हरे कृष्ण माता जी, थैंक यू माता जी।
Thank you. Surya Prakash Rao Prabhuji. Oh, after so many days. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी, प्रणामाल। कालचक्रं भ्रमितीक्ष्णं सर्वं निष्कर्षय जगत् स्वतन्त्रं बुद्ध स्नेहः किमक सत्कर्मभिः भवेत्।
Thank
हरे कृष्ण
you,
माता जी।
Krishna. Leena Mataji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी, दंडवत प्रणाम। कालचक्रं भ्रमितीक्ष्णं सर्वं निष्कर्षय जगत् स्वतन्त्रम् अबुधस्येह किम असत्कर्मभिर्भवेत्। थैंक यू माताजी। हरे कृष्ण।
Thank you, Revati Ratnangi Mataji, Hare Krishna.
कृष्ण माता जी, प्रणाम माता जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। कालचक्रं ब्रह्म दीक्षणं सर्वं निष्कर्य जगत् स्वतन्त्रमबुद्धसे यः किं सत्कबीर्भवेत्। हरे कृष्ण माता जी, थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Thank you. Pushpa Yashamati Mataji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी, प्रणाम माता जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। कालचक्रं भ्रमे एतेक्षणं सर्वं निष्कारसै जगत् स्वदात्रम् अभूतस्यते किं असत् कर्मभिर्भवेत्। हरे कृष्ण माता जी, थैंक यू माता जी।
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माता।
कालचक्रं भ्रमीतीक्ष्णं सर्वं निष्कर्षयज्जगत् स्वतन्त्रम् अबुधस्येह किम् असत्कर्मभिर्भवेत्. Kalachakram, the wheel of eternal time. Brahmi, revolving automatically. Tikshanam, very sharp. Sarvam, all. Nishkarshayat, driving. Jagat, the world. Swatantram, independent, not caring for the so-called scientists and philosophers. Abudhasya, of one who does not know this principle of time. Iha, in this material world. Kim asat karma bhi bhavet. What is the use of engaging in temporary fruitive activities? Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Narad Muni had spoken of a physical object made of sharp blades and thunderbolts. The Haryashvas understood this allegory as follows. Eternal time moves very sharply, as if made of razors and thunderbolts. Uninterrupted and fully independent, it drives the activities of the whole world. If one does not try to study the eternal element of time, what benefit can he derive by performing temporary material activities? Purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. This verse explains the words Kshara Pavyam Swayam Brahmi, which specially refers to the orbit of eternal time. It is said that time and tide wait for no man, according to the moral instructions of the great politician Chanakya Pandit. Ayusha kshana eko api na labhya swarna kotibhi na chen nira arthakam niti ka chahane sato adhika. Even a moment of one's lifetime could not be returned in exchange for millions of dollars. Therefore, one should consider how much loss one suffers if he wastes even a moment of his life for nothing. Living like an animal, not understanding the goal of life, one foolishly thinks that there is no eternity and that his lifespan of 50, 60, or at the most 100 years is everything. This is the greatest foolishness. Time is eternal, and in the material world, one passes through different phases of his eternal time. Time is compared herein to a sharp razor. A razor is meant to shave the hair from one's face. But if not carefully handled, the razor will cause disaster. One is advised not to create a disaster by misusing his lifetime. One should be extremely careful to utilize the span of his life for spiritual realization or Krishna consciousness. Om Agyan Timirandasya Gyan Anjana Shalakaya Chakshir Unmiltam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadabahiyam Dadati Swapadantikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenbandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishbhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priyai. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे नमाम विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नाम्ने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारिणे Hare Krishna, sorry. Narad Muni had spoken of a physical object made of sharp blades and thunderbolts. The Haryashvas understood this allegory as follows. Eternal time moves very sharply, as if made of razors and thunderbolts. Uninterrupted and fully independent, it drives the activities of the entire world. If one does not try to study the eternal element of time, what benefit can he derive from performing temporary material activities? Just 1 second. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam 6th canto, which is called as the prescribed duties of the mankind. Chapter number 5, which is called as Narad Muni.
Narad Muni
Nadmuri
cursed
cursed by
by Prajapati Daksha.
the Prajapati Daksha.
Prajapati Daksha. And what allegory did we study yesterday?
About
Yesterday
swan.
we Swan.
Swan. Mhm. What was the take-home point, if any?
Like swan, Lord has both material and spiritual energy. And like swan, we have to discriminate. And we have to pick up the about spiritual life realization. And we have
Essence
to follow
of
the
spiritual.
shastras. We have to follow the
Yes.
essence of shastras. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So here we are studying that the allegory of object
Razor.
made of sharp blades and thunderbolts is compared to the quality of the time factor. And what kind of a time factor? Eternal time factor. Means there is no beginning, there is no middle, there is no end. It's just there. We somehow are like given a part of some part of the eternal time. And we don't if we don't utilize that part of the eternal time which we are coming in touch with, and we don't realize the importance of that particular element, then we live in vain. So what benefit can he derive from performing temporary material activities? Try to understand. It's like Prabhupada gives examples so many times, like the land was there. Okay, he says the land was there even before we were born. The land will be there even after we leave the body. But we come for some time and we start claiming that this is India, this is Pakistan, this is China, this is this. And then we fight over it. Okay. And then what is the use? Because the land was there before, the land will be there after. And then we come and then we start claiming and we fight over it, and then there is no benefit. So understand that the time factor is like this, like it is there. Time is always there. We come in contact with some element of the time, some part of the time in this lifespan. Of course, many lifespans, but whatever we can recollect in this life. And this verse is encouraging each one of us to tap into the eternal element of the time factor, which means it is simple to understand. You see, in the last verse, we said that Krishna has spiritual energy and a material energy. The material energy goes through creation, maintenance, and annihilation. Spiritual energy does not go through these factors. So spiritual energy, the material energy can be used to tap into the spiritual energy. That is the perfect utilization of the material energy. There is no other utilization as per we are understanding from the acharyas and the shastras. So like that time, there is a limited time given to a living entity who is trapped in a particular situation in life. And with that limited time, if we can tap into the unlimited aspect of the time, then that's the benefit. That's a great benefit. But with the limited time, if we are not able to tap into the eternal aspect of the time, then what is the use? Is the question asked to each one of us by Srimad Bhagavatam. What is the use? Okay, when we say that, okay, I developed very big empire, I utilized. So people say that, right? We use time very cautiously and very judiciously with a lot of attention and consciousness. And we worked hard within that time. We didn't waste time. So that is why where we are in life is where we are. Have you heard of these things? Yeah, I'm just giving examples of how we concoct. Have you heard of these things, or have you said these things? Do you think of these things? Okay, when I was younger, I used my time very cautiously. Or somebody else used their time very cautiously. They didn't waste their time going here, going there, concentrated on their studies and their career goals. And there you are. There they are, where they are today. Yes? Have you heard of anything?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So by nature, we want to be a follower. By nature, we want everyone all over the world same. It doesn't matter which background one comes from. One is looking for an advice every time. Like, what can we do? What can I do? What is good for me? Okay, so now understand that this particular example I gave, definitely in that particular time period, this person or you or anyone has achieved, appears to have achieved a lot of benefits. But the question is, from Srimad Bhagavatam point of view, the question is that what is the use? Now, I'm not saying that there is no use, because that's the whole deal of this discussion, that what is the use? Is there any use? Can we tap into the eternal element of the time with with all the assets that one has built in their life? Or can just one become engrossed in enjoying the results of one's hard work or karmic, whatever karma, force of karma has brought forth to that particular living entity, and forget about the eternal element of the time? That is the question that Srimad Bhagavatam is asking. Okay? Because we cannot exchange, or we cannot pay the price of a lost time for whatever rich, whatever we are. That is why it is eternal. Understand? No material worth can pay off the time, because it is eternal. Okay, but something which is eternal cannot be purchased by something which is limited. And that one may say that we are billionaire, trillionaire, okay, but still limited. Brahma is richest, still his time runs out. Right? So highly elevated. And my friend Chiti Shakti, I think I mentioned the other time, that she says that how do we actually make or tap into the eternal element of the time factor? Right now, whatever activities we are doing in the material domain is not letting us tap into the eternal element of the time factor. We are trapped into the material element of the time factor, the beginning and end and the middle. She said, for example, if somebody is eating prasadam, okay, and then what is the benefit? It has eternal benefit. It's not that, once we have eaten, then it's like the benefit is there for some time and then it's gone. No, because it has nurtured the soul. So we have tapped into the eternal element of the time factor. But if somebody is eating a very sattvic diet, very, mode of goodness, but is not in Krishna consciousness, what is the real benefit? Okay, their body will get nurtured, they'll get the nutrients of the food, but then later on, what will happen? It's not going to last forever. So they have not tapped into the eternal element of the time. It's still conditional. Still there is condition. She said, like, one is speaking, the force of speaking. Remember the first verse of Nectar of Instruction, like Vacho Vegam. Everybody wants to talk. So actually everybody wants to talk. Nobody wants to remain quiet. So force of speaking. So the force of speaking is just used to discuss the talks of like mundane level. Prabhupada says, kya bhav hai? Like, what is the price of this commodity, that commodity? What is happening? Everywhere only crisis is happening. But what is happening here? Who is getting water? Who is losing water? No, these kind of, so we have not again tapped into the eternal element of the time. But if somebody talks or discusses, sits down and discusses Srimad Bhagavatam or scriptures which are brought to us by a proper parampara, then we have tapped into the eternal element of the time. You see how activities in Krishna consciousness help us tap into the eternal element, but the activities which are not aligned to Krishna consciousness keep us trapped. And then that gives rise to anxiety and fear. Where are these feelings, where these feelings are coming from. In spiritual life also, there is anxiety, there is fear, right? There is at the higher level, these feelings are there. But that those feelings are coming from a different platform. They're coming from the eternal platform, coming from spiritual platform for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But in the material life, if we have not tapped into the eternal element of the time, we get succumbed to these emotions. These are real emotions. People succumb to it. I'm not kidding. We get so many people in the ER having panic attacks. I've never heard of panic attacks in my life before. Seeing people here, and they really seem lost. They're not faking it. Like, how come? How come? Because we have again not tapped into the eternal element. Or this very famous phenomena in the world is called midlife crisis. Have you heard of this midlife crisis? Do you know what it is? Midlife crisis. I think Prem Prakash Adas Prabhu can explain us. He's like quite midlife
Hare
crisis.
Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
When the life in right in the middle, you suddenly feel crisis. You feel as if you're missing out everywhere, and everything is running so fast that you can't match with it. So you are stuck. The world is moving, and you can't move.
Yeah,
This
so
is
very nice. So nicely explained. You see, the midlife crisis, why somebody in the middle age gets this urgency, this says, oh my God, half of my life is over, or more than half of my life is over, and I've really not done anything that I wanted to do. I have just done for this person, that person, this, did this responsibility, earned for them, this, raise the children, did this for family, this. So many thoughts mind can bring. So many thoughts are there because we are picking up subtle energy and processing it continuously. So why is there crisis? Because the person did not take time to tap into the eternal part of the time, eternal element. But because for a person in Krishna consciousness, everything is happily situated. Prabhupada says in Krishna book, we'll read today, like, is happily situated. Everything has its own meaning. There's a meaning behind everything that I've gone through. I was talking to my friend today, and she's saying that the discussion was that this was a very, you see, you can tap into Krishna consciousness in from any topic, I guess. There's this person, he said his um, approval for a particular thing was rejected by his office. Says, okay, but you know what to do, things happen, and then we move on. I said, like, wait a minute, because if we don't actually allow ourselves to feel what we are feeling, then we're actually going to get sick. People get sick. They suppress their feelings, and then it shows up somewhere in the body, and then we get sick. Like that, if we don't use the time factor for tapping into the eternal part of its existence, then the material life makes us sick. Sense gratification makes us sick. There is no sense gratification which has ever made anyone happy. Nothing. There's not even one. Only Krishna consciousness has made someone happy. So understand that this verse is very, very powerful in the way that the time is compared to an object with sharp razors and thunderbolts. And Prabhupada is saying the razor is used to shave the facial hair. But if somebody is not careful, the razor will cut and the blood will come out. Means that if we had not used the time properly, then the time factor will cut us from every aspect from which we thought was ours. Right? If we are not tapping into the eternal element, we are tapping into the material element. In the material element, the consciousness is that I have done this. This is my empire. This is my assets. This is this. But the time factor is made of sharp razors and thunderbolts. It will cut. And we will be forced to see the eternal part of it behind, from what, like a curtain has to be removed. It'll cut. But a person who is in Krishna consciousness, if they are rich, then they are Krishna conscious. If they are not rich, then they are Krishna conscious. because their consciousness is in Krishna and not in their this thing or that thing, that thing. And then Krishna then gives intelligence to such a person how to use everything for him in that way that we can actually be engaged in the eternal service, not something which is temporary. Radhanath Maharaj gives example of a devotee. He's a very famous and very rich person. He's Radhanath Maharaj's disciple. What is it? Is Piramal? Somebody called Piramal? He is Maharaj's disciple. This person one time said that was facing crisis in the business, but he anyhow took up the Radha Kund cleaning project in Vrindavan and also supporting the widow Matajis in Vrindavan. Somehow he pulled it through. And then Radhanath Maharaj was made aware that, he's actually in a lot of stress because of the business, the crisis going like that. So Radhanath Maharaj said, he called upon him and he said that, how did you do all this? You're losing like millions and millions of dollars and every day, and you're still able to somehow do this service. Are you not stressed? Because naturally, somebody will be stressed if they're losing so much money. And Maharaj said, he said that, Maharaj, I would have been stressed and I would have totally succumbed to the situation if I did not see myself beyond all this situation, beyond all these paradigms, which is only shown by your mercy, like his Guru Maharaj's mercy, or chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. When Maharaj was saying that, I got it. And I heard him say that, I got it. That, you see, if we don't develop that vision of Krishna consciousness, then I am not supposed to be bound by these by these calamities or happiness or ups and downs, then my life will make sense. Okay, otherwise it's just going to be like riding the waves of an ocean. That's how Shastras explain, riding the waves of an ocean. Sometimes high tide, sometimes low tide, sometimes high tide, sometimes low tide. And that's what we think. But Shastras tell us that you go deep in the ocean. There is no disturbance. Even if the surface level is disturbed, the deep part of the ocean stays still. And so you go deep within your own existence in relationship with who I am actually. And if we nurture ourselves from that element, then everything else gets nurtured. Everything else makes sense. Everyone makes sense. And every experience makes sense. Okay, so understand that this verse is pledging us, is encouraging us to actually tap into the eternal element of the time and not stick with the conditional aspect of the time, which is going to be cut off anyway, as the sharp razor cuts off the skin of a person who's not careful in shaving their face. I think I'll stop here. Any questions, reflections, realizations, corrections? It's a nice verse. Every verse is finishing with this question: what benefit can he derive from performing temporary material activities?
The beautiful part of midlife crisis is, you call it ugly or beautiful, is there is actually no change at all.
No change at all?
The life has not changed. It's the same life. And still you suddenly feel a crisis in your life.
Yeah, because we did not take time to tap into the eternal part. Very much engrossed in something which was going to end, and it is ending. I have seen where as we grow older, the reality of death becomes very real. The young children, okay, there is death. After 7 years of age, the child has a concept of death is irreversible phenomena. But then they're like, okay, I have like a lot of time. I don't really need to think. But as somebody ages like 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, definitely death is like around the corner. It's real. Yeah. Does it happen? I've seen that. Does it happen? Have you seen it or experienced it? That how death becomes a real thing as we grow old? Nobody wants to say this. Okay. Any questions, reflections, realizations, corrections?